Now, I can understand why the perception of prison planet exists. I see the constructs that are in between the time of in between the soul being in the body and the space of transition. I see those, but I also know how to unwind those, and so do many people in our academy. This is what death rites and ancestor work affords us. It affords us the capacity to unwind these overlays that are anchored into our subconscious and our system. We can unwind those overlays so when the moment of transition comes, the soul is not burdened with having to navigate that matrix. Okay. So if we are fortunate in our dying process, we will be able to die in peace without a lot of agony and pain. Okay, there are people that have that experience. And that's not dependent upon how you die, in the sense if you die of an illness or not. That's not what it's dependent upon. And the reason why I know that is because there are people that have been in my sphere that have been diagnosed with terminal illness. They start going through all the different holistic ways. Well, first they might go through conventional medicine, and then, that wears out, and then they go into the holistic. Some get better once they go into the holistic. Some do not. Some do not cure themselves, but all of them do get healed. And what I mean by that is that they've done so much personal work on themselves that by time they are on their deathbed and they are dying, there is no pain. There's no need for morphine. There's no, okay, there's so much has cleaned up out of their energetic system, their emotional system, all their mental system, that there's no pain for that process. Okay. So this is a beautiful thing. And then it goes even deeper. When you're in that position and you're able to have death rites, then that means you can offload even more ancestral stuff and personal stuff from that linear timeline. See, it's all dense, heavy energy from trauma and programming that holds us in this linear frame up. Okay. And there's an opportunity to release all that and have the realization while you're still in your body. And that liberates everybody who shares your DNA. That helps everybody who shares your DNA, because now they have an ancestor who has DNA that has accommodated a self-realized and awakened consciousness. Okay, when I say awakened, I mean out beyond the linear frame up of who we think we are. So it's a massive gift. So if in that process they get to go through that, and when they leave the physical form, they are not burdened the same way. They do not have to face the demons that they never faced. There's no unresolved issues anymore. And they can see clearly the pathway back home. They don't get ensnared in what in the Bardos. And the Bardos is something the Tibetan Book of the Dead talked about, as well as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, that in Western understanding, we would call it the life review. They don't get ensnared in the review because it's all resolved. They're at peace and they just get to walk home. Okay, so what if you have a beloved that passes without all that? Maybe they were in a lot of pain, they had a lot of drugs. Maybe it was an ancestor from 50 years ago that passed. You can still offer them the gift of death rites. You can still offer them the transition. And that's because we are infinite beings in a biosuit. We, what some might call the soul, is beyond time and space. Once it's outside of the biosuit and the biosuit is no longer occupied by any life force energy whatsoever, they are in that, they are in the field of timelessness. Okay. Am I still frozen? Let me know. I remember when my mom died, it's like I saw her lift out of her body. It was like this white mist just lifted out of her body, and she filled the entire room. And I can hear her, I can feel her. It was as if she was all around. I thought everybody there was having that experience, but it wasn't. It was only me, unfortunately, because she had a lot of beautiful things to share. And I was not in the position to be her voice. You know, for certain people here and there, I was, but you know, most people not. And it was a house full of people. It was very large. Um, there was a very large family that she was married into. Anyway, so once you're beyond the physical form, the timelessness is now a factor. So that is how a descendant is able to go back and retrieve you and bring you forward into their here and now and offer you death rites and unwind the trappings of the mind spiritual matrix of this reality in that linear time frame, in that linear line of your life. That is how they're able to do that. And then once you do that, there's the potential to wake up. And just because you're no longer with the biosuit and you're in a timelessness state doesn't mean you have awoke, because you're still in the reincarnational cycles of this planet. Awaking, self-realizing, means you are no longer captured by the reincarnation cycles of this realm. You are stepped beyond, you have stepped beyond that. Finding your way back home is stepping beyond the incarnational cycle. It no longer captures you. Okay. All right. So there's that kind of thing. So if you have a beloved that has passed, it's not too late to offer them the grace, the gift of death rites. Everybody in your family line benefits from that.